So thank you all for joining today. I think you're slowly, progressively joining. My name is Pauline Boivin. I work as a policy and project manager at the Lifelong Learning platform. And I will be your host for this webinar today. And I was very pleased to see that we had so many registrations from across the European Union. We had people from Poland, Finland, Malta, Belgium, Lithuania, Portugal, and even countries outside the European Union. I will now share my screen for a short introduction. Yes, welcome again for this webinar on making soft skills visible in guidance service. The agenda for today is first, we will have a 5 minutes introduction from me on the guidance community. Then I will give the floor to our speaker, Sara Jurado, who is a career guidance coordinator at Barcelona Activa for more or less 30 minutes presentation. Then we will have some time for Q&As. And yes, at any time you can ask questions in the chat or in, you can see in the bottom of your screen, Q&As for the speakers. And then we will have some concluding words. And yes, if you can introduce yourself in the chat and say who you are, for which organization you're from, and from which country, that would be nice. So why a European guidance community? It is actually a very new community because we'd like to improve policy and practice in the European Union by sharing innovative practices and inspiring from pioneer organization. This is an initiative from the Lifelong Learning platform and also international network of Cité des Métiers. Cité des Métiers are a guidance center. So it's a guidance center model, which is multi-stakeholders. And they have a center in different European countries, and they're also coordinating this initiative with us. They're also a member of the platform. This is a rather new initiative. This was created at the end of 2022. And today is actually the first webinar that we are doing. And we also aim in the future to bridge it with the validation communities. When I say validation, I mean validation of competencies, because we believe that this is very closely interlinked with guidance. What is validation is the identification of competence, the documentation of competence, or portfolio, these kind of things, the assessment of competence, and finally the certification. So we think that guidance and validation are very connected. That's why we would like to create a community for both practitioners in these different fields. And this community was also a follow-up of a European project, which has ended last year. And the project was called Keep Impact. And it was a project about competencies for professionals in guidance on multi-stakeholders cooperation and management. So how to build partnerships in the field of guidance. And you can check the website, is still online. You can also find all resources on there. Then for whom is this community? Well, it's very diverse. And I think from the registration form, I can testify that the participants today are very diverse. They are practitioners, counselors, working and doing the guidance themselves, and also policymakers working at very different levels, from European agency and institutions to ministries at national level, but also regional and local authorities. And it is a very diverse community already, I can say, because you represent very diverse sectors of education, from vocational education, adult education, higher education, public employment services, schools, NGOs. Well, everyone who has interest in guidance actually welcome in this community. And what are the aims? The aim is to, as I said already, to exchange good practice or inspiring practices, innovative practices. In the future, we would also like to provide possibility to provide professional development opportunities, so training, organized training. And we could also organize study visits in different countries where there is an event, for instance. Now, for the moment, our resources are limited, but the plan that we have for this year would be to have 2 or 3 webinars in this format. We also have a newsletter. Some of you received on Monday the information about this webinar through this newsletter. Don't worry, it's not a very regular newsletter. It's not every month, so it really depends when we have really key information to share, like events which are very relevant. So we would then use this communication channels. We're also considering to create a Nepali community. And finally, I can already tell you, but without being able to confirm, that there was some expressed interest from the community on giving example of a national lifelong guidance strategy. So for the moment, we are looking into innovative and inspiring countries in Europe who would like to share about this. And we are also in touch with the Institute of Lifelong Learning, which is based in Luxembourg. And they have set up a website, which is, well, it's a website that provides guidance in a very good way, I must say, with job profiles and all the information about the jobs and the training opportunities. And this is also, according to me, a good practice that we would like to share in the future. Now, that was for the short introduction, and I'm very pleased to give the floor to Sara Jurado from Barcelona Activa. She will tell you all about it, and she's a career guidance coordinator. So you have the floor, Sara.
Thank you, Pauline. First of all, I would like to express that maybe I don't have enough voice because I had a 1 week cold and still recovering. So from time to time, I have some cough crisis. So I prepare this little exercise and questions and answers. Now you have it. In case I have to stop during some seconds, maybe a minute. Okay. I would like to share now my presentation. Must be full screen. Can you confirm it?
Not yet.
Not yet, Pauline. Yeah. Okay.
We tried before we started
the same problem before.
Yes.
Not a problem. Must be like this now. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Perfect.
Okay, good. Does any of you have heard about Barcelona Activa before? Maybe you can raise your hand or say something on the chat. Or is the first time you have heard about this institution? My presentation will be based on the career guidance or counseling model of Barcelona Activa. We will be talking about soft skills, but it will be very practical. So I will show you different tools and resources we use in Barcelona Activa, so we can help people in their career. Okay. Maybe. Okay, now it should work. So you can understand what is Barcelona Activa. I wanted to first make you a small presentation. about this institution. We start to work when I was a child. It was in 1987 when Barcelona Activa started working in the city of Barcelona, Spain, as a local development economic agency. And currently we work with more than 50,000 people and 2,000 companies. And we have at the moment more or less 200 projects in our incubator. Here you have some data of the figures, so you can make yourself an idea of the the scope of this institution and the impact on the city. And these are data 2 years ago, because we have just closed data on 2022, but I will show you later some, so you can also make an idea of more recent information. And also I would like to get it deep into the service of the line of Barcelona Activa where I work, that is the employment area. There are different services, as for example, give information and the first welcome to the users, the citizens of that need some kind of help. So we have a one-stop shop for face-to-face, can be in remote or it can be in person. And we listen to the person and see in which way we can help them for their job seeking or their career guidance. Secondly, we have specialized people on our team that work with citizens, so they can have own resources, so they can approach more to the basic information we give in first instance, and they can have an interview and personalized guidance to improve their skills, to change their job, or just to find another one. We also give a lot of information or resources from the website Barcelona Treball, that it means work or job in Catalan, because it's our main language. So nowadays, all citizens can use all these resources from their home. It's not necessary they have an appointment with one of our professionals. They can do a lot by themselves from home. We also provide citizens from different seminars, workshops, and roundtables, so they can have more knowledge about themselves, about the market, or they get the technical professional training they need. We are always in contact with companies and with the labor market, and we put a special focus on the citizens that are more vulnerable, and for that they need more support. As can be women or young people, or for example, transsexual. We also organize different activities based on the new recruitment techniques, and to approach citizens to companies and in some way to dynamize the market. And we also have a service dedicated to coaching, another one that is based on the mentoring methodology. And we are always thinking in which ways we can help people with innovative methods. Here you have an example of one of the activities we organize, marketplaces. It's a kind of event we started to organize 10 years ago. And it's an event where companies that are looking for employees and candidates can meet in the same space, can be online or can be in person. we tried them to connect and have the first interview, the first contact. And we use these activities in several training programs and services. So the labor market is as much dynamic as possible. Now we are going to get into the session about soft skills. My speech will be organized in 5 or 6 points. First, I will try to explain you more the soft skills inside our career guidance model. Then I will show you the key skill dictionary, also the catalog of job profiles, also a tool that is called key skills test, and training method to improve key skills that we call key skills school. First of all, so you can understand more our model, I can explain you that, as I said before, we have kind of an information service, and that helps so the person can have the first contact with the world of soft skills. In that service, we can use, for example, the key skills dictionary that I will show you later. And it's a good tool so that person takes contact with what are the key skills, why are so important, how they have to talk with the argot of human resources people, and that will help them to be more competitive and have more opportunities in the labor market. I will show you also our catalog of 845 job profiles that we start with 500. In some moments we even have more than 900, so it depends on the moment of the history. We put more and we modify them, depends on the labor market. So we try to have it always updated. And this catalog of job profiles help a lot to our counselors in their personalized career guidance interviews, because are a clear example of how the labor market can be, and that then the person can be reflected and both the candidate or the user and the career counselor can speak with the same language. We also have a case skill test that I will show you later, and this is really helpful so the people can have more knowledge about their key skills profile. It's a tool that we use so also techniques can have kind of diagnosis about the person, but also the person can do by themselves from home, and it can approach of a kind of an evaluation that a company can make them themselves to enter to work to their company, for example. And to finish, I will show you a bit of our key skills school that works can work as a work plan. So when technique takes the case of a user, of a citizen that maybe feels lost on the labor market, what we do is that kind of diagnosis, and then we design with a person what could be a work plan to improve their skills and their occupability in the labor market. And then this person can work by themselves, going to the different sessions, maybe during 6 months, and then you can compare. You can and do again the key skills test, for example, and clearly you can see the development of this person, and you can have, you know, like a picture, a photo of before and after. I'm gonna explain you different options of our key skills dictionary, so you can have an idea. We organize the soft skills in 5 clusters. 5 categories. We have initiative, focus on achievement, planning and organization, and concern of order and quality in what we call the achievement category. You can find leadership, managing people, teamwork, and cooperation in what we call the cluster management of the team. In the cluster influence, you can find soft skills like communication, empathy, negotiation, networking, or customer orientation. In another cluster that maybe is not so obvious, and we call TOF, you can find soft skills like learning and use of knowledge, creativity, strategic focus, analytical thought, or conceptual thinking. And to finish, we also have 5 cluster that we call personal management, and then you can find soft skills that are more related to the personal management of the person, like self-confidence, self-control, commitment to the organization or the company, and flexibility and change management. We have this dictionary in a text, and also I'm going to show you. We have this version that is a very interactive version and helps a lot to the people to work by themselves. As I told you, all the tools can be used by a technique, a counselor, but also can be used by the users by themselves if they are digital, very able.
Sarah,
Yeah,
I don't think we can see that this was a video.
No.
It doesn't
Okay,
show.
it's a link. Don't worry, I have everything prepared. So here you have a screenshot. I wanted to show you on live, but it's no problem. I make some examples.
If it is in the presentation, we will share the slide anyway after the webinar. So
yeah, everything is online, as I told you, so you can see it later if you want to get it in deep into the contents. Here you have customer orientation. Okay, so there is a coach, so you can play the video, and she explains that definition and do some highlights on some key aspects. Then there are level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. So each of the 21 soft skills we have differentiated in 4 levels. And in the case of level 1 and level 3, there are videos. Okay, so this image of a hospital or sanitary space is related to a situation where the person can watch a scene, kind of a little film of a situation where you can see how the person advises the client, gives them alternatives that are better adapted to their needs. That way, the person can integrate this information, that component on the soft skill, and it's better for them to break in their personal or professional life. For example, I wanted to explain you one anecdote about this soft skill, customer orientation. Last week, I was with my colleague and I decided to work while I was waiting for a meeting in a hotel. And I went to the waiter and I asked for a tea, as I have today. And it was very nice, and she gave me a tea. After some minutes, I saw that the teapot had still some water. So I approached again to another waiter and I asked her if she could give me some sugar, because for me, teas without sugar are not nice enough. So she could listen my voice, and she offered me some honey. This is not common in Spain. Usually you don't find honey in bars. People have at home, or you can buy at the supermarket, but it's not frequently that you can find, in public spaces, like a restaurant or a bar. So I was very surprised. I went to my seat and I said, okay, thank you. If you can give me, it will be nice. And it was not enough with that. She anticipated to my needs. She wanted to recommend me. And apart from that, honey, she bring me some lemon, and she also told me it would be nice that I took a bit of ginger if I had at home, because she could not offer me. So for me, it was a clear example of level 3 of this soft skill. Maybe in Spain, waiters can be kind, can be smiley, but maybe not all of them will make your recommendation. So that way you can see the different degrees of the skills. Okay, secondly, or third, sorry, I would like to talk about our 845 job profiles that are showed in the market section of our website. There are different ways of looking for them. You can search through the industry that they are categorized, or there is a search that is called job search profile, and you can put a keyword, or you can look through different options of studies, and then they recommend you the job profiles that are linked with a specific professional or university study. So if you choose one of these, for example, I choose for you professional counselor. So you have this information. You can have an idea of the trainees, for example. Here you have like psychology or sociology, different university studies degrees related to this professional profile, but also gives you a bit of explanation of the experience that usually companies ask for, the interest that should have the person, other related occupations. So I can navigate through this job profile to another ones that can be similar. So that way I have more ideas of how to relocate myself or reorientate. And if I go to the soft skills section, I can see the exact level that a company can ask me of one of the soft skills that are more common for this professional profile. In this case, for example, is empathy. That I think you will think about it, but also is, for example, leadership. So from here, you can access to the dictionary soft skill, not the other one that I show you with the videos, but just a textual one. Or you can also go to have more idea of other tools that are recommended. Now, I want to show you one of the diagnosis tools, that is the key skills test. It helps with self-evaluation because it's a test that a person can do by themselves at home with 20-30 minutes minimum. I would recommend 1 hour at least to make the test, because there are 220 items or questions, but apart from that part, it's very interesting what I'm going to show you, that is the results screen. Secondly, it helps the person to have more knowledge about the different degrees on the 21 soft skills, and in third case, it gives you more information about some strength and improvement points. It's a tool that is based of self-knowledge. That's why I prepare you 3 examples of items. This, for example, is the item number 1 of the 220. And you have to choose one of the 5 levels below of the sentence that is other consider me to be an open, unapproachable person. Would you answer fully disagree, fully agree, or you have 3 options in the middle that are disagree, agree, or neutral? We always recommend to try to choose the ones that are more far, but it's a test based on self-knowledge, not in what you will choose, but in what you really will do. I mean, not thinking in what you think is correct, but if you will find in this situation, what do you really think it's you. Second example that I choose for you is the number 11. I spend so much time doing small daily tasks that I have no time left for things that are really important. I don't know if you are this kind of person that really focus on the important things. On some time, you also put attention in little things that come into our life. So as third example, I always demand the maximum from others. Do you see the relationship with the soft skills? Sometimes they are not obvious. We have 120 questions, and not always you will see if it's measuring leadership or self-control or creativity. But at the end of the test, of the half an hour more or less, you will see this graphic with the 21 soft skills, and with different color. As much shadow means that your level is better, and your sincerity level. This is related to that tendency humans have to think always in what could be the best answer, not what really reflects what I am. So in that case, for example, the validation tool is not the maximum, it's not high, it should be high. If the degree of sincerity is low, then really the results are not good. I mean, I will recommend the person to do it again and be more focused on really who you are. And medium means that maybe this person is trying to lie or is trying to simulate for some reason. So that's why we always recommend the person to be very aware of what they will do, not what they consider. They don't think and then being evaluated. Then the result analysis identifies the strengths or improvements points on the 21 soft skills. And the strengths are based on behaviors that you usually do, and the weak points are maybe behaviors that you don't do every time, so the soft skill is not consolidated. And the highlights are information that appears in the right side of your results. I didn't show now, and give you details of your results compared with average of the population that have answered this test before. And also the test gives you a comparison with the profile, as the job profiles, do you remember before? And that I explained you. You can choose one of the job profiles and gives you, you know, the line and how you are you are fitting the perfect job profile or not, but any one of us is perfect, so no worries. The important thing is to improve in life. So that's why we have the Key Skills School that started in Barcelona Activa 20 years ago. Nowadays, we have kind of 100 activities every trimester. It depends on the trimesters. Maybe we have 120 or we'll have 95 within different modalities. Online, virtual, that is with a teacher in the other side of the screen, like today, we are doing, and in person. Last year, the number of participants was 904 during the whole year. I mean, almost 1,000 of different participants on the online, virtual, or in person seminars. And the most requests are communication, self-confidence, leadership, networking, and planification and organization. I don't know if they are the ones you expected. Here you have the structure of how we organize the key skills schools. We have different seminars. We have basic ones for these people that maybe have not done any growth professional session before, and they have to discover themselves and the soft skill first. Then we have sessions that are a bit longer, that are to work on the key factors of the soft skill, and they can train themselves, and they can do a lot of exercise with other people. The seminar, specialization seminar, are seminars of 3 hours, usually maybe 5 or 6, and then they are focused on special abilities or attitudes on the soft skills. Then we have the 4 level of training, that is training sessions. In the sessions, they are shorter, they are 2 hours of length, and we let the person just do an exercise. The teacher doesn't do much, just explains the situation, and then the person has to resolve the situation by themselves. And at the end, there is a feedback, not just of the teacher, but also of the rest of the students. And evaluations activities that can be organized based on the test that I showed you before or not. The idea is the person can grow and go into different activities, and in 6 months they can see the result. I mean, they can see that really they have changed behaviors in themselves. I would like now to know if you have questions, as Pauline explained at the beginning. We will wait in the last minutes for your comments and questions. Thank you for your time and your attention.
Thank you very much, Sarah. This was really interesting, and I really want to test myself on soft skill. And I think the tool is also available in English, which is great. So anyone can also test it by themselves. So that's great news. We have a first question in the chat. I mean, not in the chat, but in the Q&A. And that's it was actually my question as well. It is about, how is sincerity measured? How do you know?
As many, I don't know if any of you have knowledge about psychology, but as many tests that try to evaluate capacities on people, there are different questions that are tricky. For example, we try to discover the same, but asking in different ways. That's one way. Another ways is questions that try to see if you are sincere. For example, if you ask a person, have you ever crossed the street without the traffic light being in green? I don't know if you're so perfect, but I will. say yes. So there are different questions in the 220 items that are just to see if the level of self-knowledge it's enough to the results are really validate 100%. 90 will say.
That's great. And we also have another question in the chat is the course resources, so what you presented at the end, is it also available for people with disabilities? And the question is more specific to blind people.
Yes and no. I mean, we have some disabled people, and we try to adapt the sessions, but it depends on the disability. For example, if they do online session, then they can just listen, but we couldn't adapt for the moment more the methodology. So in some cases, for example, in person, we have a translator for signal language, but we cannot offer to every sessions, because as I said before, it's almost 100 different activities, and maybe there are more than one edition every trimester of every activity. So it's more a service we give as the people ask for it. So if we have a demand, a special petition, then we make what we can until the date to adapt the contents to that disability.
Thank you. We have also a question now from Anna, and this is what kind of educational background do the professionals working in Barcelona Activa have? I imagine it's a big organization, as you showed in the first slide.
Yeah.
What is their background?
At least we ask for 3 years of experience on the training of that soft skill, and depending on the soft skill, we also complete this profile with the studies related to the specialty. So to work with us, every teacher has to make kind of also an evaluation.
And you also have colleagues who go to school to provide guidance?
In Barcelona Activa?
Yes, do you have colleagues or people working in Barcelona Activa who are also going to schools to provide guidance, or is it only focused? Yeah.
No, yeah. Our service is for all the so if a university or secondary school, for example, ask us a session, we organize with them. Most of them, we have them in our installations, in our venues, but some are in there, so we arrange everything. There is a project, for example, that is called professional life project that is working with high schools and professional studies schools as well, and yeah, every year we have sessions with universities. So yeah, we also do sessions like most of them, what I explained you before, it's for heterogeneous public, but we prepare sessions adapted to a group also, a specific group.
Right. Then we have a question, if I understand correctly, is how is the career practitioner or trained in the organization? Do they have continuous training, or do they have initial training? How do they get new competencies?
Yeah, the schools is open during the whole year. So every trimester we organize sessions, and every year we try different activities, and depending on the result, we also evaluate what our users and citizens think about the sessions, and then we change them, or we make new ones, or we improve. So it's this short duration program. It's always on. Since 20 years ago that we started, and it has been becoming bigger and bigger. When we start, we only have two different kinds of seminar, the introduction and the development courses, and then we make them methodology bigger, and we also try, we still don't arrive to the 21 soft skills, but we are working on 15 different ones, and our goal is to improve as well, and someday that we can offer every person what they really need. But for the moment, this is kind of a standard. And for the technique courses, professional courses, then it depends on the moment of the year. Maybe there are ones more focused on logistics, or maybe on sports. We open and close the courses depending on
also the practitioners, the professional of Barcelona Activa, they get trained also throughout the year. They can. Yes. The professionals of Barcelona Activa can also go to the sessions, of course, even in their labor schedule. I mean, we organize so every technique can at least go to 3 sessions every year. Because of course it's part of the free resources of the city council, so every person can go. That's great. It's perfect lifelong learning. Yeah, and it's good to have the contact with students we have. Yeah. Indeed. We go there, and then we introduce, we explain the citizens we are part of the organization, but we also think we need to improve, and of course. That's a very good attitude, I think. There's a connected question from Joao. So it's not about training, it is about job shadowing. So do you use job shadowing? So I think this is a question with multifaceted. So it could be international or transnational job shadowing. So do you host people for job shadowing? Or do you also send your colleagues or practitioners in doing job shadowing in companies or in other career guidance centers? We have done, but it's not something we do in a regular way. I mean, we have done in the last 5 years. We hire a company, so they can send people to our interviews, our activities, networking and recruitment activities, to the soft skills school, and we didn't know. And afterwards, they give us a feedback. But it's something it's not established as a measure, but we will it's very useful. Very interesting. And then, Joao, if you want to precise your question, you can also write in the chat. Then the next question is, do you know what is the source, the reference for the data which relate to the skill, occupational and labor market? Where does it come from in the database? Is it a national or local service in the region? Yeah, there are different sources. It's not just one. We have a network of partners
So, for example, if you get into the Barcelona Activa website and you search through the market section, as you could see the job profiles that I explained you, you will see documents that any organization has made for us because we trust on their criterion, on their data. Others come from different contracts we do to human resources consultants or specialists. We also, during some years, we were connected to different job offers sources, pages, like InfoJobs. There is very well known in Spain, on other, for example, temporary agencies. So that way we could contrast the soft skills and the information, the highlights we give about the studies that usually companies ask for, but it's a reference. I mean, we always say to the user that here you can make yourself an idea. It's to start from the zero, so you can see if it's realistic what you want to do in the next 5 years, for example. But during these 5 years, you should update and look for information, because the market is very dynamic. It's always changing.
And I have also a question which is connected. Do you evaluate this soft skill program? Do you measure? You have, aggregated data for Barcelona. Is there an increase, for instance, of soft skill level throughout the years? But do you also evaluate the program in the sense that do you ask employers if that helps them to recruit? Or does that help the candidate in guidance to find better employment? Did you do some evaluation of impact?
As a regular measure, we ask our students what they think about our session. After they finish the session, they can answer a test, satisfaction evaluation of the session. And apart from that, we are in contact, as explained, with companies. So we show them our dictionary when they want to put a job offer, for example, or when we organize with them the marketplaces. So that way it's like the information is always moving, and it's back and forward. And we are also thinking in other measures, so we can have more information about the impact. For example, we know that apart from everything we do, like sending special job offers to users, having the interviews, all the training, all the programs, what has the highest rates of employment are these marketplaces. Last week, for example, I was talking with one of the mates that was an amazing one, and told me that from 11 final candidates a company choose, at the end they hire 3. So they explain us what who they have hired, and we take make a report about this. But this is so fast, everything, that is difficult for us to doing a follow-up, because also depends on the users that want to explain us if they have find a job, or sometimes they just come when they need help, they feel lost. But when they feel successful or they are happy, they don't explain so much. Depends.
Well, great. So we're coming to the end of this session. There are only 2 minutes before we close this webinar. If you had one recommendation in one sentence to all the practitioners, the professionals who are here today, who might not have started to work on soft skill, what would it be? Very short recommendation. Where to start, for instance?
I will say being humble is super important so you can improve. And always have every year in my team, I recommend them to have, kind of a goal related to soft skills. So every year you should think about different changes you are gonna make in your life, so you can approach to the level of soft skills you want.
That's great. Very nice words for this. So to conclude, yes, I think when we talk about skills, it's not just the skill of, the practice, but it's also about knowledge and attitudes. As you said, like being humble is an attitude. It's a topic that the lifelong learning platform is working a lot on. I had a question about this, but given the time, I left it out. But we hear about soft skill, key competencies. We hear about this a lot this year with at European level, there's the European Year of Skills, and there was the European Skills Agenda in 2020. And we are actually working a lot on this topic at LLLP. We have a project called Transvalue. And I just wanted to, before we close the webinar, to share with you an invitation to an event, this time in person, which you might be interested in. It will take place in April in Paris on the 18th and the 19th next month. And this is where we will present the research results of this project. We have tried in Poland, Lithuania, Austria, French-speaking Belgium, and Italy on how to integrate transversal skills. So that's why I mentioned the terminology, transversal skills, in guidance and validation. And we are doing an evaluation of the research on the practitioners and on the end users. So I will share, I will send an invitation in the next days about this event. And another event from the same project, which is more focusing on the policy, so how to change the policy so that there is also support from the national, the regional, and the European level on making all skills visible, so including soft or transversal skills and competencies. And this event will take place in May 24 and 25 in Stockholm, in Sweden. So you're all welcome to join. And I will share after this webinar the invitation by email. Thank you all for joining. I hope this was interesting. We will share the presentation afterwards, and yes, see you soon, hopefully. And thank you, Sara, again for joining on your presentation.
Thanks to you to give me the opportunity.
Bye. Have a good day.
Good day.